What a splendid day to have your company on our program Weekend. Yes, it's ours. We're doing it together. Just like we'll be marking Easter together. Happy Easter. I know you have some splendid things planned for today. Perhaps you're spending time with family and friends. But the friendship, that is the one that incorporates Weekend. It must start from here. So we do this one together first. Perhaps you can invite your family and friends to sip your coffee or your early morning beverages together as we journey down some very interesting routes, which we began yesterday. Yesterday, we started our talk about urban mass transportation in Nigeria. We had contributions from our brothers and sisters nationwide. We had the privilege of talking with Assistant Corps Marshal Jonas Agu. He was here. We also spoke with Ali, Deputy National President, Nigeria's Guild of Editors. Okay, he was also here. He spoke expansively. We've already wished you happy Easter. Now we want to let you know a bit more about the essence of Easter. This package is by Semben and Dio.
This story starts Thursday night. Jesus Christ had his last supper with his disciples, and when they had finished, he took 3 of his disciples to pray. While he was praying, one of the 12 was selling him out for 30 pieces of silver. When Jesus was done praying, he came down from the hill and was met by his betrayer. The signal given, the leader captured, and the followers scattered like sheep, except for one who later denied him before the crowd. After all the false accusations, they finally found one that nailed him to the cross. They took him to be flogged, and stripes could be seen on him. He was condemned to death by the king and sent to die on the cross. When he had passed, he was buried in a tomb. But his burial was special. His tomb had army protection. But though his tomb was sealed, on the 3rd day, he came out, resurrected, and lives forever.
Easter is not just a story, it's the event of what God has done to redeem mankind, to change the narrative and the story of humanity, and to give us a hope and a future. It is the celebration of the suffering, death, and the resurrection of our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. And the purpose of his coming into the world is to come to give his life as a ransom. God bought back our life from the clutches of sin, of wickedness, of evil, of the world, and of the things around us that hold us bound. Those who believe in him have their sins forgiven. Those who believe in him have them justified by God. Those who believe in him are children of God, and they have the hope of glory, of sharing in God's eternal kingdom.
In a country where it seems so many sectors have died or are in coma, where killings and kidnappings are happening on almost a daily basis, how does the Easter story give us hope?
The Bible says that when he died on the cross, there was earthquake, there was darkness in the land, and it was as though there will be no future. But the devil will not have the last word. So death, suffering, the troubles of this time will not have the last say. The last say belongs to God. The last say is the saying of God, of victory, of resurrection, of life, of hope, of a greater future. So let us tell ourselves, and we want to encourage all Nigerians not to give up, hoping and trusting in God. The weeping may endure for the night, but the day, the breaking of the dawn is coming. The resurrection morning is coming. Don't lose hope. Let us hold on to God.
Going forward, as Nigeria enters into election season with different people coming out for elective positions, what responsibilities must we as citizens and leaders wake up to?
We need to determine to encourage people, mobilize the church, mobilize the citizens, both by the traditional rulers, community leaders, our religious leaders, our political leaders. All of us must engage in mobilizing the people so that we will have a credible election.
As the world celebrates Easter and the resurrection power of Jesus Christ, let us remember that it is the time of reawakening to our responsibilities as leaders and as followers. This is wishing Nigerians happy Easter from all of us at NTA.
Thank you for that package, Samban. Our memory has been refreshed, the essence of Easter. It's time for us to gather. Yes, there's reason to celebrate, but there's a lot more that is encompassed, especially at this time. It's our pleasure to share some part of the Easter with Most Reverend Dr. Peter Ogumuyiwa, the Archbishop of Abuja Province, the African Church. Happy Easter.
Happy celebration to you all. God bless you.
Interesting. It's great to have you with us at this time. We've just listened to the essence of Easter. At this peculiar time in our nation's history, how can we hold on to the good news that Easter brings as a nation?
Again, thank you for having me. Easter is about the celebration or commemoration of the resurrection of our Lord Jesus Christ. Resurrection simply means bring back to life something that is dead or was dead. And Easter celebration is the very essence of Christian faith, in the sense that Easter celebration, the resurrection of Jesus Christ, is the good news. When we are talking about good news, the good that is in the news is that Jesus Christ resurrected from the dead, which is very unique of him. You will remember that we have so many prophets that came to the world for the purpose of reconciling man to God. They did their bit in the mission that was given to them by God, but they could not complete it, in that sin continued to be at the increase, even with the effort of the prophets. But Jesus Christ came in the form of God. God himself decided to come in the form of man to actually put an end to this struggle of bringing man back to him. And when Jesus came, what made him unique? If, like we had so many prophets that, like as earlier said, that came, they all died and were buried, and we didn't hear of them again apart from the account that we have of them in the scripture,
The Bible.
But Jesus Christ came like a prophet. He came like human being. He did what human being does, and eventually he died like human being. And when he died, even the disciples that were with him, some of them heard that he would resurrect the third day, but they did not believe. Otherwise, if they had believed, when Jesus Christ died, they would still have remained with him even at death.
Fair.
But they scattered. The Bible recorded that they all scattered. Why did they scatter? Because they didn't believe that
doubted.
somebody would come, will die and resurrect. Of course, there are two classes of people predominantly during the time of Jesus Christ: the Sadducees and the Pharisees. The Sadducees did not believe in resurrection, while the Pharisees do believe in resurrection of the dead, that at the last day they will rise up again. But in the case of Jesus Christ, not many of them actually believe that he will resurrect bodily. So when Jesus Christ eventually died, like I said, the disciples scattered, but immediately he resurrected. Even Peter, that was very close, that is closely knitted with Jesus Christ, did not believe. When the women came to him and said, he has resurrected, said, do you believe? They ran. You see, why he was running to the grave of Jesus Christ? Not because he believed, but because he wanted to see whether it was true that Jesus actually resurrected. So you can see the incident, the drama that followed the resurrection. So eventually Jesus Christ resurrected, and that shows that this man has supremacy over life and over death, because it has never happened. And that is the message of Christians. You can see Apostle Paul in 1 Corinthians chapter 15. He said, if Christ had not risen, then our faith would have been in vain. So it means if Christ has not risen, there will not be no reason for Christianity, because there are so many religions that were before Christianity, before Jesus Christ. And so what the uniqueness of Christianity is that Jesus rose, and that is the message, that is the good news, that is the message of the church, that somebody did something that was extraordinary. And some people still argue that, well, he resurrected in spirit and not bodily. But if Jesus did not resurrect in body, he would not have eaten after his resurrection. He ate. Spirit does not eat. Indeed. He ate with his disciples. He made them. You cannot touch a spirit. He called Thomas and others. He showed them his hand, everything, and asked them, come and touch me, to show that he has taken power. He has wrestled power from death. He is now Lord over death and over life. And if you believe in him, if you believe in Jesus Christ, you see, this is not about religion. It's about heaven. It's about God's kingdom. The only key to God's kingdom is Jesus Christ, because he is the one that has really come to show that he has power over life, everything, over life. But let me bring it to the now. Let me bring it to Nigeria now, because the world over, everyone, all the Christians all over the world, many have heard of what you're saying before. Some have read it in the Bible, and we just had a small feature highlighting the essence of Easter. But at this time, what will Christians hold on to? They know the story. They know Jesus Christ resurrected. They know it is phenomenal. No human being has resurrected. That's why, for some people, this is history you are recounting. What is the message for them at this critical time in our history? That is a very good question. The message for people, for humanity generally, and Nigerians in particular, is that resurrection of Jesus Christ, Easter, signifies hope in the world of hopelessness. What Nigeria is going through, for instance, today, economically, politically, socially, we are just coming out of COVID-19. So all over the world, it appears that there is hopelessness. Now, the message of Easter is to reassure us that I started by saying resurrection is bringing back to life. The message of Easter to all of us is that all those things that appears not working, because Jesus Christ resurrected, all the things you have lost will be restored. Jesus' resurrection is about restoration of what has been lost. So Nigeria, I believe that the economy of this country will be restored. The things will come back to life. If Jesus could do it, and we believe in him, we put our trust in him, everything, your hopelessness will become reality. That is the message. And I want you to just believe that God is not yet done with us in this country. I believe whatever prophecy, whatever fears, whatever apprehension we have concerning 2023, I am one of the men of God that is so confident in me. I'm so convinced that it shall be well with Nigeria.
Indeed.
2023 is going to be a year of miracle. Okay. Something is going to take place in this country because Jesus Christ is the Lord of life and is the hope of our living. So if you have hope in him, I believe things will turn around. And because of Easter, because of the circumstance, because of the history, because of the event of Easter, which is about something that was lost, that all people felt has been completely lost, and Jesus Christ brought it back to life. So everything about you can still come back to life. If you are thinking things are not going well with you, this is connect yourself spiritually, physically to this spirit, and I want to assure you that you will see that you will start smiling. Things will start changing for you for the better, and that is your portion in Jesus' name.
Thank you. Thank you, Archbishop. You know, Nigeria comprises not just Christians. We have Muslims, we have atheists, we have a traditional religions as well. But we must all live together. We must. So how do we begin to bring about the harmony that we shared hitherto?
Now, when we are talking about Easter, we are not just talking about religion. We are talking of the significance, and the significance is that there is hope. Whether you are a Christian, whether you are a Muslim, whether you are an atheist, whether you are a humanist, they call themselves humanists, everybody believe in that principle that you can still make it. And I am saying, irrespective of whatever faith you profess, let us use this season. And incidentally, the Muslims are still fasting. So they are still observing their Ramadan, holy season. And so the prayer and our wishes should be that, because the message about God is love. In even the humanists, they talk about loving your neighbor as yourself. And if all of us, irrespective of whatever faith we share, we believe that we are first and foremost human beings. We come from one source. God created us from Adam and Eve, and so we are in other words, we are all one family, and that is why they say the world itself is a global village. So I believe that we can still work together as one family. Don't discriminate against others. Show love. The moment you show love, even if you say you are a Christian, you are born again Christian, and you don't show love to your neighbor who do not share the same faith with you, you are not of God. Everyone is created by God, and if we are all created by God, then we should be loving. Our politicians should also know that those that they are serving, they are part of them. You see, the problem we have in this world is that nobody is an island to himself. The rich needs the poor. The poor needs the rich. And if we continue in this mentality and this wickedness, that everything, all the wealth, we want to gather it to ourselves alone, then there is danger, because those that you are supposed to affect positively, eventually they may rise against you. So that is the message of love. So everybody, whatever resources you have, if you are privileged to have things above others, share it with people. Let people know, feel your love as human being.
Can we look at leadership? Leadership at different levels. How leadership, especially among the clergy, how is impacting on the citizens? How is leadership impacting on citizenry?
Well, number one, the problem we have in Nigeria is what we have just mentioned, is leadership. I believe we have wonderful followership in this country. Nigerians are law-abiding people. Nigerians ordinarily are very loving people. We love ourselves. We want to live with ourselves. But the problem is the elite, the ruling class. those who feel they use their wealth, unfortunately this wealth is from the resources God has blessed Nigeria with. They use their wealth to divide us. All the killings you are seeing, all the crises, many of the problems we have in Nigeria are artificial.
So speak to that. Speak to those people who are being used. Tell them what is the ideal thing to do.
I will only speak and appeal to our ruling class, our leaders, our elites. That you see, the more you try to use your position and wealth to divide the people, to cause disaffection with ordinary Nigerians, it will soon come to you. Today, the attack, you see that they were attacking the less privileged ones. Now these criminals are so sophisticated now that they have weapons to attack the rich. They are gradually getting at all of you. So I'm thinking, once the leadership in Nigeria gets it right, everything will come down. So I'm praying and I'm appealing to those who are in the helms of affairs, those who are holding the resources of this country. Please have the mind of God. Fortunately, we have them in the church, we have them in the mosque. We listen to messages in the church and in the mosque. We also know what is right to do. I'm appealing to you because the moment we get it right at the top, the follower, it is very easy. Nigerians will just follow. Okay. This is a country that we are very enduring. We are very patient. Our people are very patient. They are patient with us. But we should not take that for granted. We should also have the fear of God and believe that this world is just for a while. All that we think we have, the position you hold, you cannot be there forever. And even if you are lucky to be a senator, a councillor, and you continue to remain in power, you will not remain in this world forever. So a time will come when you will give up the ghost, and then you will leave the space for others. So while you are there now, Nigeria is so blessed. Nigeria is richly blessed. We don't have business to be poor in this country. So all these things we have, this poverty, economic problems, all these things are artificial. If the politicians are their borders keeper, look at what has just been done recently now. They released the thieves that were legally jailed. Government released them. So if you can be nice to your colleagues, then be nice to Nigerians as well, to the common people. Let us show love to them, and then Nigeria will be better for it.
Okay, let me, as we wrap up, Nigerians have heard you. I would have liked you to address especially our young people. Many of them are looking forward to holding the helm of affairs in several ways in this country. So maybe some entrepreneurs, they are looking for that mentorship, but you are here today, you can pass that message to them. Address our youths who perhaps have gotten wrong ideas about what it is to be prosperous, and some may be losing hope. The youths hopefully will be leaders of this country and of the world.
All right, well, there is what we call cause and effect. I believe largely what is responsible for the types, the mindsets, the mentality of our youth today is because of the corruption that is in the leadership. But having said that, I think we need to also talk to the youth. That I say our youth are very talented, very gifted. Some of you are into technology and you can create. Our youth are very creative. I want to appeal to our youth to please be patient. I know that you really want to work. You really want to help to develop this country, but you are not giving the atmosphere is not very conducive enough. But I want to assure you that I want to talk to the youth that things can still be better. You don't need to go into crime. Yes, some of you, because you graduate and you don't have something to do, and you say because of that, remain with God. Once you are with God, this Easter season, use it to bring yourself back to God. Unite yourself with, reconcile with God, and God will give you a better future rather than going into crime, rather than going into yahoo. these are things that are ordinarily they are not good morals. There are still some youth that are creative. They go and use their intellect, use their wisdom, the knowledge they have acquired in the university to do little things, and they make ends meet. You don't have to go into crime. You don't have to be they say you need to keep the heritage, your home, your family heritage. Some of us don't even consider that, because they say good name is better than silver and gold. I want to talk to our youth that you need to keep your good name. You need to know the children or the son of whom you are. And then you don't join multitude to do evil. I want to assure you that the Easter message is hope, and you still have hope in life. Don't join our guests. You can see our young guests now, they are into prostitution in order to make ends meet. Why do you defile your body which God has given to you? God has made you who you are, and you can still be a better person without even going into all these things that will destroy you, and then that will bring your moral, that may make people look at you as if you are look down on you and make you look as if you are ashamed. I believe that God can still make you what you are, and your destiny cannot be changed.
Thank you. Thank you. We've been talking with Most Reverend Dr. Peter Gumuyiwa, Archbishop of Abuja Province, the African Church. Nigerians have heard at home and abroad, and we're building this country together. Please continue to share the message to everyone as we go, and we're taking this message of hope and we share it with everyone we meet today. Thank you for chatting with us today.
Once again, happy Easter. God bless you.
Thank you. You are watching Weekend Deal. We'll take a break. We'll continue in a moment. Don't go anywhere. You are watching Weekend Deal. We'll take our next feature now. We want you to stay with us.
Transportation is particularly crucial for the existence of human settlements, while the existence of such settlement creates greater demand for transport. Transportation routes are constructed for distribution of resources between places where they are abundant and places where they are scarce. But what is the situation of our intrastate transport system in Nigeria?
In some places, you'll be surprised that people still rely on animals, for example, to ferry people across the hamlets, if you like. There are people who still use cows, for example, to transport goods and services. They use donkeys, like I say, animals, beast of burden. But it's important for states to have some kind of harmony. For example, they could decide to say, okay, we're going to restrict only a 20-seater bus will ply our routes, so that they can carry maximum passengers or minimum passenger, depending on the population of commuters in the state.
Many Nigerians do not have private vehicles of their own, so commercial vehicles are the next option. Danfo or Molwe, as they are popularly referred to in Lagos State, come in many colors depending on the location.
So it's important that you have color schemes that would differentiate buses, transport companies, and their route. And that's why when you go to even some other places beyond buses, you know, there are specific routes. They say, look, like the subway or the underground. You know, if you want to use the express, London Express, for example, is totally different from the regular, the one that would take you to a certain, but it comes at a higher price.
Motorcycle operators, popularly known as Okada riders, are now becoming nuisance on many of our roads, posing serious threats to residents as well as other road users. Why is it difficult to curb this challenge?
The normal transport cannot cater for the demand. And then that is one, because there is a widening, there is a big gulf between demand and supply. Regular transport, what I mean regular, taxis, buses, they cannot meet this specific demand. That is one. Secondly, there is also on the part of passengers, Okada, popularly called, you know, in some other places up north they call it Achaba. Achaba is a fast way, how you make a fast buck, how you make fast money. That is Achaba. And some other places they call them, well, let's go and die, literally, because they are so reckless. Why you cannot check and is still thriving is because it caters to a specific clientele, and this specific clientele, some depending on the requirement, on the demand. First, door-to-door service. You'll be taken right to your doorstep. In mega cities where there is normally gridlock, example, Lagos is a mega city. I've seen instances where people abandoned their SUVs to keep a date with their flight time. They abandon their SUV with their drivers, they hop on Arakada because they want to get to the airport. They meander through traffic. They are small, they are fast, and more often than not, they are reckless.
So many roads are overused and misused in Nigeria, while the waterways have a lot of capacity that is not being utilized. According to statistics from National Inland Waterways Authority, NIWA, 28 of the 36 states of the Federation can be linked by water, though only about 30% of these vast resources are navigable. NIWA has also established that at least 17 out of the 28 states are accessible.
We are not maximizing our waterways. Until recently, when Lagos introduced its Lagos bus service, people, and then, you see, when you maximize your waterways, you're cutting nearly by 50% the amount of time it takes to commute between locations. And it saves you a lot of gridlock as well. Vehicular human movement is a lot easier when you utilize available waterways. But unfortunately, beyond intra-city movement, like in a place like Lagos, which is really welcome, if at all Lagos is maximizing that, most of the traffic you see on our roads naturally will ease.
Transportation of man and goods have always been of paramount importance to man. Therefore, our focus on Weekend Deal today will be on the transportation system in Nigeria. Weekend Deal.
Many thanks, Francis. Now, that will shape some of our conversation from this point on. The waterways, yes. Yesterday when we were talking with Ali M. Ali, he was right here. He did say that with the body of water in Nigeria, a lot more can still be done to make water transportation go nationwide, make it more accessible as long as we make it safe. That's interesting. So your messages have been coming in, and many people are very concerned about transportation. Let me take Beryl from Jutse in Abuja. This is what she says. She says the public transportation system in Abuja is completely broken down. Really? The mass transit buses on Abuja roads are just a handful. Residents rely mostly on the kabu that carry passengers 2 in front and 4 at the back. Let the FCT minister do something about it, please. Thank you, Beryl. I like this message because she's polite. She tells us who she is and where she's reaching us from. Thank you for your contributions. We'll take more as the program goes on. For now, we go to Lagos. What's happening with our waterways? Please tell us.
Traffic congestions experienced in Lagos State daily have caused delay, gridlock, and unprecedented travel times, excessive loss of energy, and loss of veritable manpower on the road. For a mega city like Lagos, about 30% of the state is being accounted for by water bodies. Thus, the need to fully harness the potentials of water transportation to serve as a complement and alternative to road has become more compelling.
Currently, the state government is developing its water transportation arm in such a way that it also ties into the multimodal system. So not only do you have road transportation in Lagos State, we're also developing the water transportation, and of course you know that there's a lot of ongoing works in the rail transportation to see how that takes off towards the end of this year, early next year. So the potentials for Lagos State are actually enormous, and the state government is investing in terms of creating the enabling environment by ensuring that the infrastructure is there, by ensuring that the safety systems are available. We're also working with the security systems as well to be able to ensure that investors and all stakeholders feel comfortable to be able to use the waterways.
The state government under the Lateef Jakonde administration provided ferry services with our Ita Faji and Babakekere boats. This Ferry Service Corporation, which is now the Lagos State Waterways Authority, LASWA, was created in 2008 by the National Inland Waterways Authority. And as a result of shortage of boats by the government, Public-Private Partnership (PPP) was introduced, and these include Build, Operate and Transfer Boats (BOT), Sea Coach, Waxy, Survey, and so on.
90% of the private operators are the private sector. The state government through Lagos Ferry Services are just is well under 10% of the current boats on the waterways. Lagos Ferry Services currently has 21 boats, and you have almost about 200, if not even more, boats from the private operators.
Lagos operates ferry services on 12 routes: Ikorodu Marina CMS, Marina to Maito, Oworonshoki to Faloma, 5 carriers, Bayeku to Langbasa, just to mention a few. Though known to be a faster way of moving from one destination to another, this method or mode of transportation enjoys a very low patronage. Why?
If you take the growth of the population in Lagos, we are increasing in number. Lagos, for example, is that's where everybody wants to come to, at a population in excess of 10 million people. Then we cannot be dependent on the roads. If you see the gridlock on the Lagos alone, and then we are dependent on land transportation alone, it's not right. But the issue there is not so much we utilizing the waterways, it is the development itself. Now, we can see that Nigeria is dependent on road network development. So we are building houses around the roads. We are siting our industries around the roads. Therefore, the only means that which we can convey goods and people will be around the roads. But if we are building around the waterways, if we are developing the waterways community, if people are living there, then of course, naturally, they will be dependent on using the waterways as a means of transportation.
Statistics have shown that about 65% of commuters using waterways are degree and HND holders. 34% are young within the ages of 26 to 34, while 54% are married and 69% are self-employed. However, only 15% of Lagos residents regard the waterways as a substitute to road transportation. Some respondents bear their minds.
It's very okay. It's only that the money is too much. The money for the transportation from Ikorodu down here is 1,200. Formerly we used to pay 700. Now it's 1,000. Before it's 1,000. Now it's 1,200.
I've been using this for over 5 years now. I've been working in Ireland. They are very, very good, being faster. These challenges are the management. They are not being effective. Why? Because there should be a regulator that are managing them. We have some boats that they don't have a glasses that can cover the breeze that are coming from outside. So some boats are tattered, some boats are very, very good, but some are not enough.
Since it has been identified to help ease traffic congestion and faster, there is a need for more awareness on safety techniques for the populace to have confidence to ply the waterways.
I agree. I buy into that this is something that can really make people be prompt, for their businesses and endeavors. So a lot of attention should be given to it in terms of making sure that it is safe. It is safe and affordable. For some people, 1,002 is hefty. Good job. If 50% of the residents of Lagos are willing to exploit the waterways, then we must make it accessible for them. Let's go down to Borno State, where NTA Maiduguri is going to share with us what is ongoing with regards to challenges with mass transportation.
Infrastructure such as roads that enable transit possibility and enhances road networking is one of the factors that contribute to a nation's development.
The importance of road transport in Nigeria cannot be underestimated, as most distribution chains are carried about through road transport.
The Borno State government, under the leadership of His Excellency Professor Babagana Umar Zulum, is deeply entrenched into infrastructure development. As we speak, we are already doing urbanization of the city. We are dualizing about 4 roads, major roads within the town. We just finished the flyover. Before that, we did also another dualization towards Muna, about 10 kilometers of road. And as we speak, we are doing constructing about 8 kilometers of road at Ngaranam, by 8 kilometers of road. Presently we are doing the drainage, and shortly we'll go ahead and do the work.
Well-planned network of road is very essential in city formation and reduces the problem of urban traffic congestion.
Once we have a good road, it will ease our work. We have trained our marshals, which the government has approved 300 road marshals. So they have finished their training last week. So they will fully commission on 21st of this month by the executive governor of Borno State. So by the time they pass out, we will start our work seriously. So we are appealing to the road users and what have you to please adhere strictly to what is obtainable on bottom law.
Metropolitan areas are centers for diverse activities which require efficient and convenient transportation system. Therefore, the Borno State Governor, Professor Babagana Umar Zulum, has launched taxis, more tricycles and buses to enhance urban mass transportation.
Mutane suna shiga motar nan ko mu ma direbobi da aka wa muna ci abinci da iyalanmu muna dan kakkara ma sauran abokananmu sa zulum din a zuciya kuma suna ganin abun nan nashi kokarin shi sannan yan nabe ma da aka rarraba mu halan su ma suna jin daɗi suna ta ƙara ganin da yanzu fasinja ko ina ba sa wahalar mota lungu sako duka ana shiga ana kai su.
There is more need for proper development of road network for the present and future transportation requirement and the support for economic development.
Interesting. It is nice to also know that the government at all levels is paying a listening ear to the needs of the people. So more transportation required, more was provided, and hopefully it will help the people to reach their different locations on a daily basis promptly. We go to Edo State, the heartbeat of the nation. I know way back, if you're going to enter a bus, the buses used to line up. If the bus is not sharp, clean, if the music is not the current one, nobody's entering it. You know that our focus has been urban mass transportation, and we've gone nationwide. We're going to Kaduna now, and the tricycles are everywhere in this country. They are really making life easier for people to go from place to place. But there's also more being done in terms of improving and impacting positively on the road network and infrastructure. NTA Kaduna, please share with us.
Before the coming of the administration of Malam Nasir El-Rufai, the major highways in and around Kaduna State suffers a lot of gridlock. A little over 2 years ago, the administration made a historic pronouncement by launching the most comprehensive urban renewal project in the history of Kaduna State. Government is investing in urban infrastructure to promote competitiveness and economic growth.
The roads captured in the Kaduna Renewal Project represent a significant investment in the present and the future of our capital city. They have to be constructed and delivered to world-class standards within reasonable time with road markings, solar lighting, and sound shoulders. That is why we are today signing a memorandum of understanding with China's civil engineering and construction company CCECC to build all the new roads and upgrade the existing ones.
The transportation sector is no different, as there are various plans by the government to modernize the sector cut across the whole state. Tricycle, popularly known as keke, and commercial motorcycles have been restricted to work for certain hours and to ply major routes like Ahmadu Bello Way, Ali Akilu Road, among others. How has this affected the transportation system in the state, as the Kaduna State Traffic and Environmental Law Enforcement Agency ensure its strict compliance?
Mostly along Ali Akilu, Ahmadu Bello Way, that is coming from Cow down to Command Junction. They are not allowed to ply those roads. Why? Is because of sometimes they bring a lot of congestion within the roads, and at the same time, it's Ahmadu Bello Way is one of the thick traffic areas, and we try to not allow them to go to such places purposely because of that incident. If you go to most of the roads within Kaduna State, you find out that our marshals were on the road, and if there's any violator of this security containment order, we do arrest them, then keep their bike with us. Presently, we have over 1,780 something bikes that we have arrested, which we are yet to release. With the new road being constructed, mostly over renewal, introduced by His Excellency the Governor of Kaduna State, you can see Kaduna Town, Zaria, and Kafanchan. It's almost like Abuja or Dubai, and you see most of these roads are fixed with traffic lights, which we don't usually have before. And at the various traffic lights, we do deploy our marshals, whom also try to impose maybe the rules and regulation of beating traffic lights. And whoever beat traffic light, all you need to do now is just to pick his registration number, that is his number plate, and then key it into our system, and then we get the detail about that person, and then the next thing we either write to him or we take it to police, and we surely get him and then punish him as the law allowed to us to do.
With the urban renewal project, the state stands tall among its counterparts, devoid of gridlock and congestion of any kind, thereby making Kaduna State a model state in terms of urbanization.
Very interesting. Thank you, NTA Kaduna. When government is working, the followership must also be responsive, be law-abiding, ensure that the amenities provided are safeguarded and maintained. Very interesting. Nice one there. Now, let's come back to the FCT, where NTA Abuja has put together a package. We do know that here in the FCT, just like in many parts of Nigeria, government or governance has brought to the fore some policies that restricts tricycles and Okada riders from going to different parts of the city. And also recently we heard in the news where the House of Representatives are looking to investigate the lackluster presentation of buses in the FCT. They say some buses can't be found. How true is that? NTA Abuja, please share what you found.
When the country's federal capital was moved from Lagos to Abuja in December 12, 1991, it was haunted by an increase in motorization and low-quality public transport. This led to the creation of the Abuja Urban Mass Transport Company Limited. Under the Companies and Allied Matters Act 1990, it was designed to serve as a means to address the transportation needs of the city that was blossoming at high speed.
I know as at 1984, there was already a mechanism to transport people from the area councils to the central area. And that's, as at that time, it was known as Abuja Bus Services. Then, at about 1990, when the Federal Capital Territory Administration came up, it was not changed to Abuja Urban Mass Transit Company Limited. All the effort or all the thinking, all the administration was looking at is to make life easy for those coming from the area councils. And you know, we have about 6 area councils, from Abuja, from Yaba, from Gwagwalada, even from Nyanya. They were just tailored in order to make sure that the people come to offices, come to town to do their businesses in a low cost and comfortable. When El-Rufai, that is Governor El-Rufai, or the FCT minister then, was in charge of FCT, he was able to purchase over 100 buses in order to strip down the number of vehicles within the city center. That is one. 2, improve safety of lives and property. 3, reduce gridlocks.
The arrival of these high-capacity buses led to the ban of the commercial tricycle, popularly known as keke napep, and the commercial bikes, otherwise called Okada, that plied the capital city in 2013.
The FCT administration is still working hard. We have a task force of all the transport agencies. Let's say, when I say transport agencies, military, paramilitary, road safety, VIO. There's a task force that when you are caught, your bike is impounded outrightly. But the question now is, if there's no enabling support, if there's no enabling environment, can the bus service system thrive? To the best of my knowledge, there was a time I saw City Unity bus within Abuja complementing the urban mass. It didn't work, but I feel why it did not work is the working environment. If they move people from Abuja to FCT, that is city center, can they go back? They cannot go back because there will be no passengers that they'll take back. If they run back, it will be at a loss. It means within the peak hours, that is when the bus mass transit will function very well. Ordinarily, if you check the cost of fueling, which is diesel now is about, the price is not stable, but as at last month, it's about 700 and something. How do you think these people can get a break even? The buses, even if they are moving, can they contend with the number of traffic within the city center? Nobody is supposed to come into FCT with his private car. There's supposed to be a park before the city. A park. Even if you are driving from home, you keep your vehicle there, you board the buses and go to the city center. You see that the movement within the city center would have been very, very easy. I know at a time, all these local governments were having a mini buses that were operating as a transport system. They have. I know of Gwagwalada, I know of Kuje. They have buses as transportation system. But what I still feel is this problem at the center, which is the cost of running the system, must equally affect the local government. If you compare what is happening here to what is happening in Lagos, this bus rapid system, all the areas are well linked up, one. All the areas, if you are going to anywhere, you're coming back, you must see passengers to pick.
As more questions arise, the House of Representatives has resolved to investigate the alleged disappearance of the transit buses, mandating the Committee on the Federal Capital City for further legislative action.
That was quite revealing. It will make for some very comfortable movement in the town if we really would find a place, you come with your car, but you park it somewhere, and then you now board the functioning buses, functioning, accessible, affordable to move you to your final destination. When you close from work, you come back and pick your vehicle. That would be nice. It has been quite an interesting 2 days. We have tackled urban mass transportation in Nigeria. We learned many things. We learned about the different modes of transportation. But what is also very critical is that effective, regular, affordable, and accessible transportation is imperative in every state of the country and in the FCT. And government at all levels must work assiduously to provide it. So that's what okay, and that's what we've been trying to do. That's what we've been trying to do all through the 2 days we have been here. We also talked about Easter and its essence, and we had Most Reverend Dr. Peter Ogumuyiwa here, the Archbishop of Abuja Province, the African Church. He shared with us many things, and we're taking cognizance of it. God indeed bless Nigeria. Have a wonderful Easter and make the best of the coming week.